Ready?
Okay.
But I just wanted to.
No, I appreciate that, thank you.
Hi, everybody.
They won tonight.
Welcome tonight. I will be chairing the meeting tonight. Veronica is out due to a medical emergency. So you can address the questions. You guys ready? Okay, well, let me just get a little clarification. When I was going through the book, I noticed that in the middle school and high school, the athletic lines and art lines were in both spots. Is that a duplicate or just?
No, it's not a duplicate. Each school budget is an entire budget with
Yeah.
music, with art, with all the programming. In the budget books and online, we break out the individual departments. Like tonight, we'll review the music budget and the activities and athletics budget. It's the same thing that's in the school budget, it's just pulled out as a department.
Okay, just wanted to get clarification.
Not a duplicate.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you. Ready, Mike?
Ready to roll.
Okay, so we will start with Westbrook Middle School. You ready, Laurie?
I'm ready.
Okay. I guess we just start going through. Do you have a line right away, or?
Let me see.
I see my first line. Okay, I see something for the K through 12. That's still on our revisit list, correct?
Where are you, Noreen? I'm sorry.
Page 120. Stipend for K through 12 summer school program.
Yes, summer
Okay.
school as well as the PLC leaders are on the revisit list.
Okay.
If I could just go back to line 510.
Sure.
General supplies, there's a bit of a bump there. Is that just general cost increase, or is that anything specific?
On line 510, it's nursing supplies. It is an increase because we've established over the years something we call go bags. They're emergency kits that go with our students if they evacuate the building. So supplies for those kits like Band-Aids and gauze and supplies for those little backpacks that each classroom takes with them. Those are included in the nursing budget, and some of those have to be refilled every year.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So just a reminder for line 532, library is already on the revisit list, correct?
The special projects were
Yeah.
on the revisit list. Yes.
Good.
And also for line 533, the books and digital for the library at the middle school, an increase of 13.
Yes, if you remember, we had made an effort this year to increase all of our library budgets at all of our schools. Libraries are the hub of learning in all of our schools. We want to make sure that they are funded at a level that's appropriate. We've essentially budgeted a certain dollar amount per child. One book per child. The average cost of a picture book, elementary level, is about $19, about $24 a student at the secondary and middle levels. So this is allowing us to provide increased resources at our libraries, which have really gone underfunded for the last several years.
Is that on our revisit list?
The library books and digital materials are not.
It's not. Can we just put it on there? Just,
Sure.
Thank you. I have a question on line 548. Technology, hardware, supplies. The purchase of the MB Airs, is that the last payment? I mean, is that a current lease we have?
There are two there. The top one is, the final payment is in 2022.
Yeah,
And then the second one, I believe that last payment is FY20.
okay. Is that why there's an increase, or?
No, actually, the increase is due to that infrastructure piece that
Okay.
is in all the cost centers.
Okay, thank you.
And Sam Rigby will be at next week's meeting when we discuss technology, so he'll explain all of those that upgrade especially, all the resources we're asking for.
Okay, thank you. Why on line 550 is there such a decrease in student assessments?
We are no longer purchasing the software Jump Rope, which has been our grading and reporting software in the district. We will be using Infinite Campus,
Yeah.
which is what K4 has been using and which we've used in the past. So the decrease is because the middle school is not purchasing Jump Rope software. You'll see a similar decrease at the high school as well.
So the difference of roughly $4,000 is going to be the cost for Infinite Campus?
Depending on the platform, right now Infinite Campus is free of charge. We may opt to add on some different parts of the platform, but it's nowhere as expensive as the Jump Rope software.
So the decrease shouldn't be the full 16 that we had last year, or this current year?
And no, because part of that line is the NWEA tests. We're
Okay.
still doing those,
Okay.
and those are $13 per student. So in past budgets, we've had the NWEA test and Jump Rope.
Okay.
We're asking for the NWEA still. We've been using that for forever. We're just taking Jump Rope out of that line item.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Excuse me.
So, line 586, electricity.
Yes, based on the history and what I'm seeing there, I have forecast an increase in that line. And part of what I need to do is go back over that again, just to see with the improvements that we've made to those heat pumps, if we're seeing maybe a little more savings than what I'm seeing there.
Right.
Yep.
Right, because that's what I would hope.
Yep.
With the, with the added expense of replacing the heat pumps and getting that whole system back to a more efficient state. Hopefully we'll see some savings in the long term for electricity.
Are you going to be bringing that back to us before we finalize the budget, or?
Yeah, I can review that with the help of our power supplier as well. To
We'll
try
put
to
it
get
on
a
the
better-
revisit
Is
list,
it-
so we don't.
better
How
history.
about
Yeah.
we just do like electrical or utilities?
It'll be part of the district expenses, but we'll put
Right.
it on the revisit list as well.
Sure.
I have a question on 588. Can we get a total list of the total cost of large item removal on everyone? Well, and what else is there? Waste removal. That all goes out to bid, right?
The waste removal itself, I think I know which line you're talking about.
Waste removal is 592.
Yeah, that one is actually a joint contract with the city. I believe it's Pine Tree is doing that.
Okay. And what about the large item removal? What,
Yeah, I can give you the history on that.
what's that for?
That is anything that you can't put in the dumpster. Like say you had an old chair that you needed to get rid of. That would go with the large item removal.
Who removes that?
I believe the current vendor we're using is McKeeman.
We couldn't ask the city to come get it and bring it to the dump for us?
I believe that still has a cost to it, to take it to the dump.
Yeah, I'd like to have,
Yeah, I can give
Total
you a
cost.
history of that, sure.
yeah,
Let's see if the city puts in a lower bid.
right. On line 594, roof inspection.
Yep.
Just had a remodel. I'm really hoping that we wouldn't have to have our new roof on inspected, because I figured they're up there. on one quarter of the roof. The rest of the roof should have been inspected during the
Well,
remodel.
as you know, the rest of the building is now 9 years old. So again, it's worth the money, and we do it on a time and material basis, not to exceed that dollar figure.
Right.
And so they check everything, all the seams, all the drains, all the flashings. And so everything on that existing roof would not be covered by, let's say, a 1-year warranty for any of the workmanship on that new roof.
Okay. Okay, just wondering.
Yeah, and we won't have them inspect the new roof.
Right. And we don't do that expense every year for every roof, right? We space that out.
It is actually every year, every roof that is not new or under warranty, like the canal school. We're not going to do that this year as well, because
Because they just did that.
we've had no issues with it,
Right.
and it is fairly new.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Salaries. Can I just ask a question on line 619, retirement line? Why is that up so high?
That is driven as a percentage of your salaries, so you see the salaries proportionately went up as well.
Okay.
And I should add, too, that the Maine State retirement percentage went up probably 0.3% this year as well.
Okay,
And that's on any general fund employee.
okay, thank you.
Okay, line 627, curriculum materials. We have a $30,000 increase. Is there a main driver of that, or is that sort of across the board?
It's really across the board. We did include in this line item this year materials for all of our departments. In the past, it's been more of a single per pupil cost. There are a couple of areas that needed to be a little additionally funded. One were some softcover books for our 6th through 8th graders because of our reading program. That units of study and reading from Teachers College is moving up through the 8th grade now, so adding books to their classroom libraries. Also increasing our STEAM curriculum materials. We're continuing that initiative, so funding that program pretty well. And also we're including amounts for our special education and alternative education programs, as well as ESL education. The only other area that should show an increase, this past year we began using something called Odyssey-ware. That's an online learning program that we're providing for students in some different intervention programs, as well as off-site at our restorative learning program and our in-house alternative learning program. That's a cost that is split among the middle school, the high school, and adult education. So the biggest bump in that line item really has to do with that Odyssey-ware, the share that the middle school will be using.
I'm gonna go off of that also. What is a electronic hall pass?
Let me ask Ms. Wood, can you explain the electronic hall pass?
I can. It is so that when a student leaves the classroom, they actually request an electronic pass on their laptop, and the teacher approves it, and then they go wherever they're going, the bathroom, the library, another teacher. It allows us, for safety reasons, to know where students are. If we were to have an evacuation while that student is out of the classroom, normally we just get outside and it's like, anybody seen Joey? You know, now we have a way of jumping in to see where he was headed, who's out of the classroom at that moment. It's also helpful to, sometimes students some students spend a lot of time out of the classroom, and it's helpful for us throughout the course of the day to be able to say, in a meeting with mom and dad, your student is out of the classroom a lot, track how many times students go to nurse, et cetera. So it's really just able to compile data about where our students are and where they're going and how long they're going for.
Is this something new? Did we have it last year?
We're using it this year.
So this is a new program?
Well, it was new this year, yes.
So-
Yeah.
How long is that data retained? Is it just sort of every year you reset everything, so?
Well, this is the end of our first, when we get to the end of this first year, I'll know more, but we were able to capture it, snapshots of it,
Right.
and then also go back and do reports. I can tell on any given student from the beginning of the year. Probably they archive year to year.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all I had, Lloyd.
Can we put on the revisit, have I asked for all stipends?
I
Whole
believe it,
list?
yes.
Yeah.
It
And
is,
you have
okay.
some information in that packet we gave too.
Okay.
Also, instructional stipends as well as activity stipends and athletic stipends.
Okay.
So we'd like on the revisit, Mary?
Yes. And do we have the figures also, like on some of these sports, how many kids are in it? For like example, like cheering, how many kids participate in each sport?
We
Roughly.
have for some, but not all. It depends if the activity or if the sport has been rostered as part of Infinite Campus. It's kind of as if it was created as a class, so that we can record. We'll pull the ones that we do have so we can have some numbers for you.
Okay. Okay, on line 687, general supplies. Mouth guards. I'm sorry, but why are parents not buying their own kids their own mouth guards?
So the rationale that I've seen with that is that it's a requirement of the sport. So whenever it's a requirement, we provide it. Basically, is the way it's been in the past to make sure that it meets the regulations, that it's safe. There's actually regulations within the National Federation of High School Sports as well as the NPA as to the type of mouth guard they have to have. So we just have been purchasing them. In the
So
past.
do you buy special ones for kids who have braces?
Nope. So it's a relatively universal mouth guard that, as long as it meets the NFHS requirement, that's the one that we buy.
Can we put on supplies, general supplies for sporting events? Sport activities?
Noreen?
Yeah.
If I can add in two, you may notice under line 686,
Yeah.
under contracted services, we've included a fee for SMIFL, which is the Southern Maine Youth Football League.
That was gonna be a question, the next one.
Yep.
What is that?
It's a regional football league for middle schoolers. there have been fewer and fewer kids and fewer schools playing in the league that our middle school is able to play in. This allows greater competition for our students. It's an outside of the school organization, but it provides the competitive sport, it provides coaching, it provides all of the program for our students. It's just not us providing that program. The budget request is for us to provide the registration fee for every student who would like to, or to host a team within this SMIFL League. This will be the first time that we've been participating in SMIFL. So we've reduced the budget by the number of stipends for the football coaching staff. I noticed a couple of line items for materials for coaching we'd have to remove for football materials. We'd have to remove too. But this would be kind of a pilot to see how this works. But Mr. Morelli is advising us to do this along with the students themselves, so that they have a rich program at the middle level.
So this covers the 5,200, that covers like registration fees, it's not covering any costs for transportation for this program?
We would not be providing transportation for this program.
Sorry, Blair, what we say it again?
We would not be providing transportation for this program. The way SMIFL actually works is similar to SMIFL hockey, where it would be the responsibility of the parents to get them to the event.
So is this similar to like an AAU team?
Yes and no. The difference would be is that we belong to the SMMAC for the middle school. That's our conference, the Southern Maine Athletic Activities Association for middle schools. All of the teams that are in that league right now belong to SMIFL. We were one team that did not. We were actually in CCC, the Cumberland County Conference. What has happened in this situation is that we are having a hard time finding a schedule, one. Two, our ability level might be a little bit more accomplished than the CCC league at this time. So we're having people that actually are concerned about playing us because the kids are very successful down there. So the SMIFL League is a more competitive league that actually has the same teams that we compete against in our actual conference, the SMMAC.
Let's put that on the revisit list. I gotta think about that one.
I just had a couple more questions.
Yes, sir.
Are we confident we'll have enough students to field a team for this?
Yeah, we feel pretty confident that at the middle school level, there's it's a prediction because we're not entirely sure, but we predict somewhere around that 40 range is what we're hoping for, right around there.
And when would that be held? Before the regular football season?
So SMIFL competes at the same time that the Cumberland County Conference League would have competed. So it's the same exact basic season time. The only difference would be is that, well, I should add that we already have a fifth and sixth grade SMIFL team. So we already belong to that within the 5th and 6th graders. We're just adding the 7th and 8th graders to that.
Okay.
And Peter, you had mentioned that there'll be some budget offsets where we take some things out of budget in terms of equipment and things.
Right, and then there are some things that are still listed, some things have already been taken out, like the number of coaches, the number of officials, the kinds of costs that are associated with the program
Right.
would come out of the general fund, because we'd be paying the registration for kids, and
They'd be
take care
handling
of
everything
it.
else. Do we feel it'll be pretty much a wash in terms of the numbers, or roughly?
There's a slight savings, I believe, by doing that, Blair, not enormous, but a slight
I'm sorry, I couldn't
savings.
hear the question.
Sorry.
Is there a savings from going to SMIFL as well?
Savings for us there would be, yes. We would not be paying a coaching staff. So we spent approximately 14 to 17,000, I don't remember exactly, Dean might know that number better, on middle school football, between reconditioning of equipment, supplies, coaches, officials, transportation, so on and so forth. The cost now, if we were to pay the registration fee for approximately 40, I believe we worked in there, at $125 of an athlete, it would be Dean, correct me, 5,700, is that what it was, something like
I
that?
think that's what it came out to be.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So there would be a significant savings, and the request was made that we try to help with the registration fees to make sure those kids still have the opportunity.
Sure. Okay.
I'm gonna go down to line 690, transportation. We spent probably half the budget right now on transportation costs. Do you expect to spend the rest of it for the remainder of the year?
We've been tracking to spend probably a good 90% of that.
I know part of that, we'll have summer track coming up, and then that's always a lot of transportation cost.
Yeah, you're right, that the track teams are bigger.
And I did request from you, is that in there on my list of requests
Yes.
before we started in here? Transportation, okay, thanks. Anything else for middle school?
That's it for me.
Very good, Laurie, for now. Thank you. Okay, next, we're gonna
Before we-
move.
Can I say one thing before we do
Sure.
move on that list of other needs that we'd like to try to add into our budget? We have requested a custodian for the middle school and for the Performing Arts Center to be added in because of the increased size of the middle school. We need to increase the capacity as well as at our Performing Arts Center, which is back to its full schedule after a year of kind of challenging parking and a little bit lesser. We'll talk more about that next time when we talk about the PAC, but that was an additional request, and as we heard from last week's special education budget, there's a request for a special education teacher at Westbrook Middle School as well because of students who are moving into the building.
Okay, let me see, hold on a second. I see you, custodian estimated at school. Okay, you put that on, I like that on the revisit list.
All of those are already.
Already.
Oh, that's right.
revisit, Yeah.
But
They're
I
not
think-
in the budget, that's right.
I think you had mentioned previous, Peter, that for the custodian job, a majority of that fund might come out of the PAC,
Yes,
so.
yes.
Okay, anything else for that one? Okay, we're gonna change it up a little bit, because we're gonna do next, guess the music program. Let me see.
Line item 37, general supplies, there's a pretty big dip there. Is there a specific reason for that?
What number, I'm sorry, Mike?
37? General supplies.
Line 37 is based on enrollments and a little bit less of the music supply requests. Some of the requests we are able to purchase through the end of the building project as well. At the middle school, some of our movable equipment. So we're able to provide some of the requests from the music department through the remainder of the building fund.
I'm gonna go back a little bit. On line 26, the stipends for the brass section, wind section, choral sections. Is this for like all the concerts that are done?
No, this is for our, should I not speak?
Go ahead.
This is for our sectional contracted service people that come in part-time.
Okay, so none of these fees are paid to the regular teachers like Mrs. Smith or, forgot the other person's name. No.
Some of them potentially are, the jazz band, the Falcon Choir, those are stipended positions.
Those are stipends.
That are advertised every year. And I will add, there was a request to add into this line an additional stipend for an honors band at the middle school, which is not in the budget at this point.
Is this for all grade level, 5 through 8?
Yes, it is.
Again, on page 1141, same thing, those instructions are extra people that come in.
Yep, they come in and work exclusively for specific sections to do special techniques that are specific to those instruments, to those sections.
Okay. And is that taught during class time?
The class breaks apart into the different sections, and so the band director takes one of the sections and the contracted service people take others on different days when they come in. Yes.
Okay, on that, I'd like to have all of that on for the high school and the middle school. On these special instructions, how many kids are in each? How many are they teaching? For instance, percussion.
Well, so that same person would work at the middle school level for a certain time with those kids and then come up to the high school to work with our high school level kids.
So they're gonna
To
get
say
paid a stipend for the middle school and then a stipend for the high school?
Right. So they'll spend about 72 hours roughly working at the different schools.
Okay,
So
yeah.
we'll put together a spreadsheet of the number of kids in each
Kids,
of
and
those
then,
at
like,
both schools.
Yeah, so if they're at the middle school and the high school teaching
The
that,
number of kids at middle school for
Cool.
percussion, the number of kids at high school. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
put together a spreadsheet for you.
thank you.
This is one of the instructional strategies that's used at South Portland, at Scarborough, in Brunswick, and obviously with us. It's one of the key strategies to create an extremely successful program and to deliver specialized and diverse instruction.
Okay. No, I'm just seeing that I've had a complaint before, where parents are in like the high school and the kids go for like, I'll just say, trying to think they were, and I can't remember, I'll just say percussion. And that child just sat there while the instruction was teaching all the other kids. So they sat there for a whole period, just listening to like the flute section getting taught, but not the instrument that child had.
Okay, so,
So-
and that eliminates that issue, that problem, so
Yeah.
that every student has specialized instruction specific to their needs. But this isn't every class, this is
Right.
just scheduled periodically
Scheduled,
throughout
yep.
the year over the course of 72 hours.
Okay?
Right, and Noreen, just to speak historically, it was a few years ago where we had similar complaints to that, where we added more of the specialized instructors, if my memory serves, is that correct?
Complaints to what?
That there were some specialized instructors for some areas, but not for others.
There's instruction for each section, yes.
Right. But historically, how far does that go back?
Well,
I feel like we
I
expanded
can
that.
only speak to 3 years.
Right. I feel like we expanded that back. Maybe it was before then.
Okay, I just kind of like to look at it.
Mhm,
One more
absolutely.
question for you, if you don't mind.
No,
On the, like, the marching band instruction, typically who does that right now?
we have 2 different percussion instructors that come in. We have volunteers that come in to do mallets versus marching drums, because there's the front end versus what's on the field. We have instructors that work with the design of the marching orchestra, the choreography itself, people that work with the brass players and the wind players. So it's a very large team, comprised a lot of volunteers. There's key leaders within that, but most of the team is volunteer.
Okay, but, so this line like here is like $13,000.
Right.
Is the
So
cost, so it would
we can
be-
provide, I can provide you a spreadsheet, like so-and-so who writes the arrangement for the show will get a small portion of that.
I think Peter's gonna put that together
So
on
this,
the
Yeah.
right,
instructions.
this isn't one
Right.
person, this is a group of people who are paid out of that amount.
Yep,
Yeah.
no, I'm just like to see
Yep,
all
we'll
that.
put that
Yep.
together for you, too.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not picking on the, sounds like I am picking on the music program.
no.
Sorry, I love the music program. Line 42, marching band director. Is that more than one person, or is it like one person?
That's one person.
That is one person.
Yes. Yeah,
That's
Are you
one
able to
person.
tell me who that is? Or,
it's Mr. Smith.
That's Mr. Smith.
so we're paying Mr. Smith to be the
He's a music teacher,
music teacher and then
and he has a stipend to be the band director.
band director.
Right.
Marching band operates outside of the school day.
We'll often see them in the parking lot here as we attend meetings in the fall.
It's considerable amount of work outside of the school day.
Plus, they
to-
get
to
started
direct the
very
marching
early in
band.
the summer as well. I believe beginning of August, they start practicing.
Under the, okay, saying that, aren't they 501c,
Sorry?
the music outside?
Oh, the boosters?
The boosters.
I believe they are.
Yeah, I believe they do have their own
Can
501c3.
we get their financials on that? Is that-
Financials from the boosters?
Yes,
Sure.
please, thank you. I'm sorry, we're going back to the director. How many people do we have? What is Mr. Smith's title at the high school?
He's the director of bands.
So he's a director of bands, and then we're paying him a stipend as a director.
He's hired as a music teacher, so he teaches our music, our instrumental music program here at the high school. During the marching season, he's paid a stipend to direct the marching band in addition to the bands within the high school, the concert band, the other music classes that he teaches as well. Because the marching band is in addition to the school day. Just as the jazz band is in addition to the school day, he's also paid, he receives a stipend for the jazz band as well. So those are in addition to the day job, as technically as a music teacher here at the, both he and Ms. Prue are music teachers here at the high school, and Mr. Rich.
Okay. Okay. I just feel that, to me, it seems like double dipping. You're a director of the music, then you're director of the band director. But,
I mean, I would only see it as double dipping as if they were going on at the exact same time, which
yeah,
they
so,
are.
okay.
And just, marching band is, as Mike said, many hours in the summertime,
Oh, I
many
know, it's
hours
a
in
lot
the
of work,
evening,
and they do a
and the
phenomenal
weekends.
job, but I'm just trying to figure this all out. Okay, thank you. People, please don't hate me. you requesting, I didn't see it, new instruments or anything like that?
There are some requests.
Line-
Or is it in at each high school level?
Line 58, Maureen, for the high school? For the music budget?
Okay. What are yard markers? I knew I saw it.
Yard markers have to do with the coning that literally marks the perimeters and the turning points in a marching band show. So
Okay.
that they can have a visual of, as they're practicing, they have this peripheral thing of how far to walk forward, how far to step back, and where the markation, the delineations are, so they don't go out of bounds.
I didn't know what it was, so I'm like, I'm gonna ask.
I had to ask too.
Had to ask. So this Yamaha, what is that?
That's a Yamaha baritone horn. Yamaha's just the brand.
Yep,
Jupiter is the brand.
so you need, so it's an instrument.
Yes.
And you also want something else, juniper.
2 sousaphones.
Jupiter silver
Sousaphone.
sousaphone, that's a marching sousaphone that projects really much louder than a concert-style tuba. And it situates around the body so that it's more ergonomically useful than something that has to be.
So we don't have students right now using these at all?
We have students that would use that, yes. We have students that are tuba players that we would like to have sousaphones for the marching program.
So they're functionally equivalent, just configured differently for sitting down or walking.
They're much more suitable. The sousaphone was literally designed historically for marching and for parades because it's such a large, heavy instrument, and this one can literally, you fit the student right through the center of it. It wraps around them, and as opposed to them having to hold it up like this over their shoulder the whole time, it's something that sits on them, and then they can, it's just more ergonomically appropriate for a marching situation as opposed to sitting down on a concert stage. You wouldn't use it in a concert stage.
So this is something a kid would not bring home every day to
Oh,
practice?
no.
Okay.
This is something they'd practice with on the field.
On both of those instruments? Okay. Mike,
I'm good. This section.
I'm good for right now.
Thank you.
Huh? Sorry for all the questions.
Oh, thank you.
High school. Did you want a break? Are you all set?
I'm good.
All good still?
Ready for high school.
Okay, high
Ready for
school.
Yeah.
Gotta find it. Look, Kevin came back just to do the high school budget.
What's that?
Mr. Rose here for it.
Penny, I just keep turning up.
I have a question on line 706. Yeah.
Yep.
The increase, 4,175, the multiple intelligence advantage. What is that?
That's the EduSketch program that we have had at the high school to help to schedule kids into intervention periods when kids need to see their teachers for extra help, or when teachers need to see their students for getting work completed. They tag them, or they contact them, and that's a program that we have used in the past through some grant funding, through some repurposed funding this year, and this is in the budget again formally for next year. So that increase is really due to that EduSketch program that's worked really well.
Yeah, is that a license that we have to pay every year, or is it just a one-time cost for the program?
It's an annual license.
It's an annual license?
And it's per pupil, correct?
Correct,
Yep.
yep.
And what's the cost per pupil? I'm just curious. I forget.
$4 or
$4.
something.
We can look up the exact
Yeah.
per pupil. It's for every, so it's 700 students, whatever I figure we're projecting the high school to be, but 700 something.
Okay. Next line, 707, special projects. We budgeted for this current school year, $1,300. Next year, we're up $14,000. Wow.
That's the JMG program. I believe you, Dr. Lancia, has spoken at a couple of our school board meetings, and Chris Strout, our JMG specialist, came, I believe, to Ed Programs and shared about that. That this year was a fully grant-funded program, and with the caveat that if we chose to include or continue the programming into a subsequent year, that we would have a financial obligation of the $12,500 to JMG.
Okay, so this year's a grant, next year is not a grant.
Next year is still partially grant funded, so that 12.5 is a small amount compared to, he's a full-time staffer.
Okay,
So JMG picks up the rest of the tab for us.
okay. So on that, Peter, can I get a list of all our current grants that are current and that are eventually going to be going away?
Sure.
That we might potentially have to come up with money to fund the programs.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you. Line 709, why is there a $56,000 decrease?
In last year's budget, that's where the social worker position that the board graciously approved in our budget last year as an addition was initially placed. She has now been placed over in the guidance as opposed to a substance abuse counselor. She is not formally a substance abuse counselor. She's a general LCSW school social worker. So she's been placed over in the guidance line.
Okay, thank you.
It's just a misplacement.
Okay. Line 749,
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
749.
You got it, thank you.
Library chairs.
Yes. We could do a tour, if you would like.
Oh, no, I've been there.
The library chairs in our library are very outdated, very stained. They are not pleasant to sit in at this point, nor are they particularly hygienic. We'd like to kind of freshen up the furniture.
Is that just a rough guess what you want to spend, or did you really go out and look at a true cost, what
This
it
is the
would
true
be?
cost.
That is a true cost. Okay.
Are the new chairs less fabric based?
They're more resilient, yes.
Yes, and more microbially resistant, or, you know.
And I will add, the current library furniture was included in the last renovation of Westbrook High School, which was in 1990. So that furniture has been well-worn and well-loved for many years, and it's time to start refreshing. That's also part of our focus on libraries. Libraries are a center. Our high school library, just a plug for our high school library, is really unique in that kids actually go to our high school library. That's not typical in most high schools. My own
I never
sons
went.
as well. Our library is an extremely busy place. Our library staff, our librarian is an amazing resource, an amazing teacher of teachers and teachers of children. We really have a hub. We really have a learning commons in our library at the high school as well as our library at the middle school, all of our libraries. So we really need to recognize that and beef up the library itself, the collection, the books collection, as well as the look of our library.
Which is sad. I went to Portland, and I, to this day, do not know where the library is at Portland High School. Sad note. On that, so all that furniture in there, we're not gonna toss it away, are we gonna try to like resell it? Because there are people out there that refurnish old furniture into
we-
something else.
We have to follow our disposal of property. We have a
Okay.
policy of how to
Policy.
dispose of any property. If we are no longer using it, regardless of condition, there are steps that we have to do before we throw it away.
Okay, 'cause,
So we would do that.
I mean, because there are pretty crafty people out there, I hate to do something with it,
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah, right. Ditto.
On line 762, technology, hardware, and supply. Why such a huge decrease? 171,000.
Was that the buyout from last year?
That was the last payment. Yeah, that was the last payment on the high school laptops.
Oh, that's good to
Right.
hear. Yay.
They're
Look
paying
at
off.
that, we're saving money.
Yes. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna go. 764. The AP testing.
Yes.
So that's for any kid in AP, they have to take a test, right?
Correct.
Okay, parents aren't being charged for that?
They are. This line is actually a line for our students who receive free and reduced lunch and are unable to pay for their AP tests. We cannot, for a whole host of reasons, moral included, disqualify these students from being able to take an AP class or the AP test. The district has seen fit to fund this in the past. We've used grant funds, MELMAC funds. We do not have the MELMAC grant for next year. And so we have used title monies to cover this in the past. And so this year we're asking to put it in the budget so that it's earmarked and it sort of safely in the coffers so we know it's there.
How much is it? Is it per course? Okay, so
per
if a
test.
child takes 4 AP classes, that child has to pay 4 times.
For each test, you have to pay for each test you
How much is it for
take.
each test?
65,
Yeah, it's like
75?
80-something.
85.
Yeah.
80-something.
90, I think,
Mhm.
sounds about right.
Okay.
And that number was calculated based on the number of students that we've had over the past 2 years that are free and reduced students and the numbers of tests that they did take. So that was an approximation, but a calculated one.
Okay. In the early college, are those,
Those are online courses or university courses that we're able to have our students take if they have exhausted our course possibilities here, or if there is a particular pathway we're trying to fund for them.
can I get a list of how many kids are participating in that currently?
Absolutely.
Early college, yes. And also, let's do AP testing. I
Yeah.
want to know how many people in AP total,
Yep,
how many percentage-wise are free and reduced
yep,
and non,
okay.
to separate it out. So is it 40,
You writing
60?
this down? I don't know here anymore. Can you say that again, please, Ms. Poitras?
For AP testing? the
Totals.
Totals. So is it like 60% are early free reduced lunch to 40 are
We'll do the breakdown.
parents? I don't need kids' names, I just
Yep,
want.
of course.
Good news is that we have
Percentage.
more students taking AP than we've had in the past. That's a good thing.
I'm just for, if we're paying for one, everyone should get it, should be, so if we can figure out, move some funds around, like, people aren't really doing the college, early college classes, but more are doing the AP, maybe reallocate more to where the needs are.
Absolutely.
We'll get the breakdown.
Thank you. And I see And unfulfilled admin, is that on your
That's
wish
me.
list?
No, that would be Ms. DeVoe's position.
She's not going, so. You didn't tell her that yet? Okay. Okay. Contractual. Line 799. Why is there such a decrease in contracted services?
I'm sorry, could you say that, line 799, thank you.
235,000 reduction.
If that was the funding last year that was put in for the security upgrades.
It is, it's capital and security.
Is that been completed?
The bulk of that has. There are still some additional cameras that need to be done, some additional, some additional things here in the high school. Other schools are on the list to be addressed next. But the majority of the security upgrades have been completed here.
Okay. And the bleacher inspection is the typical every year bleacher inspection.
Yes. Yep.
Is that roof inspection? Okay, I have a line 838. Budget reserve.
Uh, 838, yes, that's for reserve for contract negotiations.
Okay.
Yeah, last year we had split that out, and obviously we don't have as much to reserve this year.
Okay.
It's under the district. Full amount is in the district cost. If you could back up to line 837, there is a duplication. The Maine Principal Association dues are listed twice.
Okay.
So we can remove one of those sets of MPA dues. So it's a savings of $527.
Very good, Peter. Thank you.
Line 839, contingency proficiency. Obviously, we're reducing that. In light of recent events, has that all been reflected in other parts of the budget?
Yes, in the past, our budgets have reflected a contingency account or an additional. Once upon a time, the State Department of Education provided us with funds to support our proficiency transition. Those funds went away, and the school committee was able to place money in our budget as a contingency account to provide professional development, to provide services as we move toward proficiency. Now that we're moving away from proficiency as a program, we no longer need that reserve account. And back to the MPA dues, that is actually a savings of $3,035 because it's multiple memberships and multiple students.
3001.
35.
So there's that marching, take that out. Line 867, special projects for music. A chair rental.
Right, during the all-city concert, we have children from all over the city that perform here at the high school, and we don't have enough seats for that concert, so we do rent chairs to come in for that concert.
Okay. Okay. Under 872, supplies and uniforms for the music. Are we purchasing satin dresses?
We do purchase some satin dresses for our choirs and our chorus students. We do provide those for our kids, just as we do uniforms for marching band. It's kind of a uniform.
And we buy tuxedos also.
We buy shirt and tie, and we buy some tuxes as well, yeah.
They're highly reusable. Zoe has used the same one for some time.
Yeah. I will say that at some point in a future budget, we really do need to look at a way to replace our music department uniforms, to totally upgrade the marching uniforms, as well as those tuxes are well used, as are the dresses. So at some point, that would be a major undertaking to upgrade all of the uniforms in the music department. But that's coming attractions probably in a future budget.
Okay. Well, going on that, are we doing athletics tonight? Well, I'm asking it now.
We are.
Because it's in, yeah.
We are doing athletics.
How about
tonight.
just give me a list of who got new uniforms last year and who's getting new uniforms this year? This for in high school. On line 893, field trips for the high school. Is this something new?
Nope, we budgeted a line item for field trips for all of our schools. Under 893, I believe this is the amount is $8 per student at all of our schools.
How much have we spent so far this year? Doesn't look like we spent hardly any.
Yeah, I'll have to check that against our transportation billing.
Okay, thank you.
It's not uncommon for those to be heavy loaded more in the spring when it's.
Yeah.
Okay, this marching band trips. That's not in the music budget under, hold on. Jazz band, well, like the Jazz Fest or marching band fee, well,
The music trips.
band and chorus, Jazz Fest, even performances, MBDA concert band festivals. Is that not part of that, or is that separate?
Ms. Bundy?
It's all part of the account coding, the 1200 designation being a secondary or high school code.
Okay.
Can I ask a question, please? I'm wondering, are you distinguishing between the transportation of the ensemble or the acceptance fee or the entrance fees, which are separate items?
Let me go back and look what that line said. Gotta find it. Well, I see here, like, there's a concert band festival, so I wasn't sure.
Are you on
Well,
line
so-
870, Noreen? The fees,
Yes.
the festival fees are in line 870.
Okay,
So that's in order for the kids to participate. We have
Okay.
to pay a festival fee. The other amount, the transportation, is the transportation to Mount Blue or Oxford Hills or wherever the festival may be, or the competition may be.
okay. Okay. 903. I see early college courses for university. Didn't I have one earlier for high school?
You did. This is under the gifted and talented budget. If our gifted and
okay.
talented students register for those courses, we charge it to the GT fund, which is 101% reimbursable.
Okay, I just realized it's a
Yep.
gifted and talented. Okay.
Line 911, it just says contracted services, reduction of 12,000. Is that something specific that we had last year that we don't have this year?
That's, all from that, right? Oh, I know. That's, Yes, actually, that is facility rental, where we were renting space.
Yes.
Which is now, correct me if I'm wrong, that's picked up under the adult ed piece, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that from last year, sure.
Okay, we got stipends on the revisit list, right? Because I'm just seeing, right now, we only spent 11,000 on stipends. We budgeted 36. So why, it's like a $14,000 that we have not spent so far this year.
You'll have a little bit more weighted toward the spring, but also, we are forecasting a surplus in there. And I know this year, part of that is being held aside to cover any of the contractual increases.
And as we do, every year, we budget for certain activities, we budget for certain things. If there isn't student interest, we don't run the club, or we don't run the sport. So there may be some things that are listed and budgeted that we hope kids will be interested in, and if they're not, we don't run them.
Okay. But I do have stipends on the list,
Yes,
right?
you do.
And I have who it is, right?
Yep. And you have that in your packet.
Yeah, someone wanted that also, so.
And actually, if you're done with the high school itself, we can probably go into the activities and athletics.
Yeah, I guess I can ask that. 'Cause I just had a question on the winter and summer weight trainer. Are they here all day for that, or, I'm just curious.
Blair, the
I could not.
the weight trainers?
Weight trainers,
Our athletic trainer?
yeah,
Our athletic trainer actually is usually here by 12:30, 1 o'clock, and they stay as late as the event goes, so that could be 7, that could be 9:30, 10, just depending on the event. That's Saturdays, holidays, whenever we actually have events, practices as well as competitions. In the pre-seasons, especially in the summertime, that is usually an entire day. It could be 7 in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, depending on what practices are scheduled at what time.
good. Do you have anything else for the high school?
No, I didn't.
I don't have anything else for the high school per se.
So you want to go to the activities and athletics?
Yeah, you guys want to take a 5-minute break? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
What?
Thank you, welcome back. So we are moving on now to athletics and activities. And it has been asked of me by Mrs. Bates if we can put all sports on the revisit list, please.
For clarification, all sports or stipends? What are we speaking of?
Did you know? Let's do both. Well, we got stipends anyway,
Okay.
that's on there, so
The high
all
school
sports.
stipends are as well? Okay.
All
Thank you.
sports, yes.
Do you need information from me on next time we visit then? Anything you need me to prepare?
We'll see what we need to prepare for
Peter
that.
will
I'll
sit
get
with you on that.
clarification.
Okay.
Thank you.
I do have a question. I'm gonna skip, because I'm in the high school, that's where I wrote everything.
Okay.
What line are you at then, Noreen?
I'm in the high school line, so I'm on 9:30.
Oh, okay, you're in the high school budget.
Yeah, because that's where I wrote everything.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'll have to flip, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, shoot.
Okay. Ice time. Now, that is a sport we share with Wyndham, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is that our share cost?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
so Wyndham pays 15, we pay 15.
I would have to see the numbers, but I believe Wyndham pays probably more than 15 total. The ice time is part of our responsibility. They pay for the coaching salaries, they pay for the equipment, uniforms. So it wasn't broken down where everything was cut in half. It was itemized in the fact that you take care of this, we take care of that.
Okay. And then also, I'd like to see the cost on security, what we have spent to date, because we have $10,000 on that line item.
You'll see that those were originally piecemealed out, fall, winter, and so on. We combined them.
I'd just like to see what we spent so far this year,
No worries. Yep.
because I've been at a couple sporting events and I have not seen, I'm assuming that's a police officer for
Correct.
security. So I've been at a couple and I have not seen, so,
You get a report for that.
thank you. It was so weird looking through this, seeing volleyball on the list.
It's kind of nice, isn't it?
Is that a unisex team, or is it
No,
boys and
volleyball
girls?
is a female-only sport in the state
Really?
of Maine.
Nice.
And that's become a very popular sport too. We're really pleased with the numbers who've turned out for that.
I would have loved to have that. The football supplies, what's, the football supplies,
Yes.
4,750, what would that be consisting of?
Balls, shoulder pad replacement, pad replacement, pants, as you need them. All the supplies you need basically to run a football program.
Do they get new pants every year?
They fill-ins. We don't do the entire thing. You go through them and do the repairs that you can do, and you make an assessment as to is it worth paying for a repair or is it time for a new pair of pants. But that includes practice gear as well.
Okay. I'd like to see a total cost we spend on the football program.
Sure.
So, on the, supply line for softball and baseball, $1,300 each, is that just the balls?
No, that would not just be balls. So some of the consumables there would be hats specifically. It would be potentially any replacement, like batting tees if they needed that, bats potentially. Obviously baseballs and softballs, as you spoke of earlier. That would be the uniform portion of the sock, which is a consumable. Just the supply line stuff that you need for actually fielding the team in that particular situation.
Do we really buy baseball bats for the boys and girls?
To be honest, I have not bought any this year. I can't speak for last year because I was not here at that time, but in my past experiences, you usually try to get one or two, and bats run anywhere from $300 to $500.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I got 4 of them. No one want them?
We don't supply multiple bats, so that would be a lot of money. So usually I try to order.
Why I'm asking is because in me seeing it, I see a lot of kids who buy them, and the parents buy their own because the kid really gets fitted for that bat.
Right.
Because
right.
weight-wise and the length of the bat.
They do.
So-
You try to ballpark about where you think you're going to be, and we obviously have students that can't afford a $350 bat, and we have other students that probably don't appreciate someone else using their $350 bat. So
Yeah.
we try to get one or two.
Okay. And I asked for a list on who's getting uniforms, right? And
Yes.
who got them last year and who's getting them this year, that
In fact,
rotation.
it's already come in. I'll send it to you in the morning.
Well, I see in here that girls soccer was getting new ones.
That's
Um,
just for clarification, boys had them last year. So that's why girls soccer is on the rotation this year. And I'm trying to get us on a 5-year rotation.
Okay. I see in this, you also have outdoor PA system. Is that at the football field?
That is at the stadium field,
At
correct?
the stadium field? Okay. Is that something, how bad is that system?
We have currently 2 blown speakers. We're utilizing 1 amplifier, where it should be a multiple amplifier system. And there's an old mixing board. So it's a bit antiquated, but more importantly, I've been on the roof every single game where it's either misty or rains to replace the fuses in it because it keeps blowing them. The mids and the high ranges are both blown out of the speakers.
Okay.
That's just for clarification. That's also utilized for many marching band competitions we have on that field:
Right.
lacrosse, soccer, track and
Okay.
field, as
Yeah.
well as football.
Okay. Also, just looking for clarification, I know you and I have spoken before, but can you just go on record telling why we need new basketball hoops in the gym?
Yeah, the issue with the basketball hoops are that they, I don't know what year they were put in there. I would not be surprised if it was prior to the 1990 renovation. They might be original, to be honest. The issue we're running into right now is as they are being retracted up into the ceiling, they are racking, and I think it's a safety concern. At some point, we're going to have to look at those.
What's this HUD card readers for weight room and locker room?
So we have this might not be a surprise, but I believe there are quite a few keys out there throughout the community that might be opening doors. The HUD readers, the card readers, eliminate that. So we have the ability then for a couple different things. When we want to allow people access into the locker rooms, we give them permission through their card reader, which is the same scan reader, which allows you in the building.
Yeah.
We can shut down access if one goes missing, for example. So it allows us to secure that area better. That also allows us to, when we have officials, you can give them a card for the day, and they can get in to use, because officials use our coaches' offices, for example, now when they come in.
Yep.
The eventual plan would also be for safety concerns within that weight room and the now going to be batting cage area up top. So we know who was in there. There's a tracking system that's involved with that. So who went in, what time they went in.
Yeah.
And if for some reason something's damaged, missing, or something happens to that system, we actually have a record of it.
So this would be like the little reader on the outside of the door?
Correct.
Okay. That was not put in during the security upgrade that we did at the high school?
No, that was not included in that.
That
number.
was not included. Okay.
I'm not sure any interior doors were.
Okay.
My major concern is with the weight room area is safety and liability.
And again, the transportation for the athletics. Mike?
No, you covered what I wanted to hit.
Sorry. Well,
No worries.
You're all set for right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Could I mention one other thing that I failed to mention when we were discussing the high school? There is a request to add in, under the guidance special projects, something called Challenge Day. It's an initiative for sophomores. It has to do with social and emotional learning. It's kind of a second layer of the BAR project that's going on at our freshman year, our ninth grade year. It's a program that would involve all of our sophomores in an experiential learning day with a number of follow-up opportunities. It's pretty incredible. A team from our high school went to an event in New Hampshire to see how this Challenge Day works there. Our school social worker, Ms. Sorg, has hosted those days before too. So it's a pretty incredible opportunity for our sophomores. So that's an ask to add into the special projects at Westbrook High School.
So this is on that
It's on that
prioritized list?
add-in list, yes.
Okay. That's it for the high school?
That's good.
My favorite. Vocational. Well, my house is a vocational house, so. You did not know that? No. And I still kept the wall where all the kids signed my wall, even Bubba,
Nice. That's nice.
whoever that is. Okay. Am I in the right one? Okay,
Vocational, yep.
yeah, it is.
And before we start, Todd, could you just give a quick description of what's in this budget and what's in the regional budget and other, how the vocational school is funded? It's not a simple,
Thank you. I was
Funding
gonna
source.
ask
Where-
that.
In the past, we're on a reimbursement formula from the other Sunday schools. We're now under an EPS funding formula, so we don't receive any revenue from the Sunday schools. All the money comes to the district for the center. This is our second year of being in an EPS funding formula, and the model is, well, it's not perfect. We learned today, one of the things that they had actually adjusted in the model was instead of a 2% interest inflation rate, they gave us a 1.7. There's a lot of discrepancy between the northern schools and the southern schools as far as what they use for actual salaries. Seems to favor the northern schools, which tend to be lower than the southern schools. And last year there was an additional $3 million put into the CTE budget for the state. This year there was no $3,000 put in, and all new programming came right off the top of that amount of money. And so we're looking at, the funding formula was not where we hoped it would be for us. We're a hold harmless school. Next year will be another hold harmless, but that will be out last year. And then we also receive Perkins funds. Most of our Perkins funds go to equipment. We do have one ed tech position in Perkins. for next year. Unfortunately, if a person or a position is in Perkins, we don't get credited for that because it's paid for out of a federal grant. And we also, there are a bunch of mini grants that are out there right now under Perkins, and we've been using those primarily just to get equipment and maintain some of the stuff that we already have.
Okay. So on line 107,
What page you on?
267.
Oh. All right.
So it says sending school travel. Is that, is that our cost? I don't understand that.
Line 1007.
We have 1,007.
Oh, yes. We have, like our assistant directors going out a lot, and then we also ask some of our staff to go out to IEPs or 504s.
Yeah.
So while I believe the mileage stipend for the administrators is noted below, but if we have staff going out to sending schools, they get reimbursed for going to meetings out there.
Oh, that's what that is? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And again, on the general supply, I'm assuming that when the vocational buys paper from WB Mason, that we're trying to get a deal just with us.
It's all done as a group.
But
Yep.
we also asked you to check, maybe doing a cost sales.
We actually take advantage of what the COG, Greater Portland Council of Governments does
Okay.
in terms of their bid process, so we piggyback onto that.
Awesome. Okay, snow plowing. We pay snow plowing for the high school,
Yeah.
and we pay snow plowing for vocational?
Yeah, we have a fixed contract, and we portion out a share for
right.
each cost center. And so regardless of whether it's, 50 snowstorms, which we hope not, or 5, we pay the same amount. And it is a fixed contract for 5 years.
Can I get the total cost of the snow plowing? I'm just curious.
Absolutely.
They plow it and then we move it.
Thank you, Todd.
Which, so when they make the big,
But-
they just push it to get it off the pavement, and then we'll move it. And I think we've been to Congan Middle School,
Canal.
Canal, high school parking lot, and then we do our parking lot too, so.
Okay.
And I do want to say, we're very appreciative of the heavy equipment program and all that they do for us. I know the high school parking lot, it's a big lot, but it fills in rather quickly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even on a relatively mild year, you guys do a great job moving the snow.
We love snow.
Well, we love the fact that you love snow.
Yes, I remember my son doing that, so.
We even built a mountain at Canal School for part of the Winter Kids
Oh, yeah.
Festival this year.
That's right.
I just
Mountain of
say
snow.
dump it over there every year. Let the kids play. So, may I ask, Tom, I'm going to ask you a question. So you're, for like your automotive program, for you to get parts, like filters and all that, you go to a local Westbrook business for that, or?
Yes, we go through Napa. We have an account with them. We actually have their software
Yeah,
on our computers, so if you brought your vehicle in, would look up the year, make, model, then we can go in and find the parts that we need. We call them like any other repair shop would, and they come up and they deliver it to us.
okay. So that's under you, under the school, right?
That's
Have we ever
correct.
looked at seeing if we can get a better rate if we, I know the city has one, or maybe even go through O'Reilly or others to see if there's someone?
Well, we
'Cause I
get,
know the
we don't
city-
pay, we don't pay what you would pay if you walked in and got it as a customer.
Right, I know like at the, city garage, they can go to Napa and they get a discounted rate.
So
Same
do
rate
we.
as- Right.
It-
But have
it-
we looked at like maybe checking out like, or the other automotives in Westbrook, if we would get the same rate, or?
We have not. I know the Napa place in Westbrook is one of the largest ones on the East Coast.
Okay. And it's a fixed rate, fixed discount that you get?
Yes, we get a certain percentage.
Okay. Okay, I was just wondering. And I'm assuming the diesel costs also for the vehicles, do we get that at the at the city garage? Or do we have our own out back?
And,
On the diesel, the fuel, for your trucks?
yeah, we fuel up at the city
City
garage.
garage?
Yep,
Okay.
both for gas and diesel.
Okay, perfect.
Line 1100, testing.
Could you just tell me what page that is?
Oh, sure. Page 290. Right at the bottom. So it's a reduction of 2234. I'm just curious, did we drop any specific test, or is this a general reduction?
No, that was, at one point, if you look at the CNA exams, we're paying, what are we paying, like $45. There was, at one point, there was talk about them going to a place and not only doing a written, an online test, but they would have to do their practical tests.
Mhm.
And that fee was quite substantially higher. So that's where the reduction has come from.
Okay. Great. I'm good with mine.
Can I just ask, what do we do with Chrisway leasing? What are you leasing from Chrisway?
They service our tractors for CDL.
Really?
Yeah. Although we are trying a new place right now.
Good idea.
One down by the big trucking company out of Scarborough. I forget their name. Anyways, they have a couple bays that they're renting out to a big tractor company that's out of Bangor. So
Okay.
we're trying them right now.
That's it for me.
Okay.
That's it?
No, that was it for me as well.
That's it. Do you want me to find something more?
No, I'm fine, I'm fine.
We'll be reviewing the art budget next week because
Yep.
Dr. Somerville could not be here tonight, so we'll be doing that
Okay.
next week as well as the others.
Do you have anything else you want to add then?
No, congratulations to our unified basketball team,
Yes.
who are the Southern Maine Regional finalists. And the state championship game is next Tuesday at Edward Little. 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Nice.
6 o'clock, so congratulations to our unified kids.
Nice. You all set?
All set?
Okay, thank you.